Welcome, good boys and girls. This is a silent song and other stories. This time around, we're going to be looking at the essay questions, and we're going to sojourn into what are some of the maybe possible exam style questions that are going to be examined from this particular play. That is not a play, but a short story rather. So it is a silent song and other stories. Into it, we're going to be looking at one of the texts, and that is Incident in the Park by Mejja Mwangi. And of course, we're going to write a typical essay or a model response to a question that would be or most likely to be asked from the text. That is after you've taken the time to read it. And if in case it's your first time you're coming across this particular channel, or a good friend of yours did refer you to this particular channel, how about a thumbs up, a subscription, a sharing with good friends out there, especially those of you that you know this work will be of great significance. Therefore, people commit unethical acts as a result of lack of moral compass of their actions. People commit unethical acts as a result of lack of moral compass of their actions. Citing illustrations from Incident in the Park by Mejja Mwangi, write an essay to validate this statement. Citing illustrations from Incident in the Park by Mejja Mwangi, write an essay to validate this assertion. Immorality, that is a sample response, good learners. Immorality stems from people's indifference. Unethical acts like negligence and brutality results from lack of care. Bloodthirsty city dwellers brutally murder an innocent fruit seller without baiting an eyelid in Incident in the Park. Government workers go about their business ignoring the ravaging effects of the drought on the neglected park. The park is dirty and brown. There was no promise of rain that August. The ground is dusty, brown, bare, and parched. The ministerial offices, city hall and parliament buildings, and the ominous cathedral are a stone throw away from the pathetic-looking park. The ministerial offices are modern fortresses, and its occupants conveniently ignore the park, which clearly lacks proper care. This is evidenced by the dry bits of grass, dry leaves, and thirsty trees. Only delicate flowers planted like oasis islands at various pools are watered in a desperate effort to keep the dirty brown park beautiful. The sad-looking boathouse and dirty, muddy water sum up the government's lack of care for the park. Secondly, the park is filled with many idlers who have little care in the world. They waste many hours lying idle in the park. They ignore the city and parliament clocks, which strike suddenly together, reminding them of how much time that they had wasted. They care less about being useful. The clocks please go unheeded. Some insolent loafers simply shake their heads deviantly, curse loudly, face the other way, and go back to sleep. Only every now and then does a misplaced idler heed the clock's nagging disapproval and accusing fingers and walk away. The park people have no intention to go anywhere else but while away. They are here to stay. They have arrived. During the afternoons, the park looks parched and almost dead, dotted with a few lounges. More idlers sit by the lake, watching the roars day in, day out. This unproductive lot is a burden to the city and to the society. The neglected pond in the park is another sign of lack of care by relevant authorities. The fish pond is dangerously overgrown with weeds. Colorless weeds choke the yellow, blue, and purple water lilies. An ugly, mishmash of weeds has replaced the aesthetic blue-green surface of the once beautiful pond. Initially, the pond flowers stuck out buds, thick, colorful fingers, and proclaimed order, but not anymore. The existence of this beautiful fauna had been snuffed out by a riot of unclassifiable intruders and bastard flowers. To make matters worse, the park soil has collapsed, forcing the pond's murky brown water and bewildered fish to the deeper, further end. The sorry state of the pond points to acute lack of attention or care. The hairy lover who feeds the fish is deviant. He ignores the public notice on the board that cautions people against feeding the fish. He carelessly tosses the debris, tiny bits of grass and soil at the hungry fish. The fish fight for the useless things, but let go when they realize that they are just worthless. The idlers throws in more rubbish and carelessly sniggers. He has no iota of empathy whatsoever. He also drops in a piece of soil at the fish. When he learns the fish feeds on insects, he tries to find some and later decides to throw in a flattened cigarette, and when he cannot catch any insects. The big fish that catches the cigarettes but releases it since it is useless. At last, the uncaring idler curses after violently hurling a large rock at a confounded fish. His lack of empathy leads him to defy the order not to feed the fish, and as a result, he harms the fishes. The police constables are callous. They harass innocent people heartlessly, displaying no shred of sympathy. The two city constables accost the old fruit seller and demand for his license and identification. As fate would have it, he has neither. He cannot afford a license. The old man nods uncomprehendingly and shakes his head sadly when the police demand for a license. He desperately tries to bribe the constables by offering 5 shillings, all he had made that day. The policeman grabs him by his old coat and remarks that he would explain it to the judge. The old man swears by his mother. He is devastated because he has another case with the cruel judge, a tyrant who would hang him this time round. The fruit seller cries that the judge is crazy and would castrate him, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. He offers the constables a 10-shilling bribe and even his fruit basket. The constables remain indifferent even when he cries that he has a wife and children. They do not care. They march him right ahead. When he realizes that he is talking to a brick wall, he decides to leap and run for it, but before catching the cops, their wives and their children. The judge is portrayed as being unjust or outrightly cruel. When the police insists on taking him to the judge, the old fruit seller cries desperately. He has no license and identification. He swears by his mother. He already has a case with the judge and he does not want to be taken aback. He believes the judge will hang him. He is selling the fruits in order to afford the fine that he was earlier imposed. He pleads with the policemen as brothers. He even tells them that the judge is a tyrant, a crazy man who will have him castrated. The allusion to his wife and children does not bear any fruit. He tries to bribe the police with the 10 shillings and appease them with his fruit basket, but the uncaring constables march him ahead. The fruit seller curses the policemen and their families and decides to bolt. He takes these desperate measures to avoid facing the evil, apathetic judge. The bloodthirsty city dwellers have no regard for human life. Realizing that the city constable was adamant about taking him to the judge, the fruit seller decides to run for it. He leaps, breaking away, leaving the policeman holding on to a piece of his own coat. He runs across the park. The policeman shouts for help. The old man hopes to get protection by disappearing into the city dwellers. That was not to be. The barbarous city dwellers launch at him, trying to nab him. The old man is savagely desperate to escape. When he stumbles and falls into a ditch, the ferocious mob stones him to death. He cries out, pleading for mercy. The bloodthirsty crowd leaves him for dead. Looking like a broken, twisted ragdoll, covered in stones and a thick red blood. The crowd mistakenly labeled him as a thief. Lastly, the injustice witnessed after the innocent fruit seller killed is the height of brutality and lack of care. And the constable strives to shift blame. No one looks guilty, and now the constable conveniently withdraws. An inspector confirms that the man is dead. The crowd that stoned him and those that witnessed his savage murder lowered their eyes, unwillingly to openly testify. Some of the residents hurriedly returned to their offices indifferently. The word thief oozes out discreetly from mouth to mouth. They mistakenly condemn the man to be a desperate thief. They judge him by the unmistakable uniform of his trade, dirty, torn clothes, and a mean, hungry face. Even the inspector of police is uneasy and doubtful about his next course of action. The poor man finds no justice even in his death. All and sundry conclude that a thief is a thief. The twisted, garbage-strewn, dark alleyways are lawlessly governed by one savage unwritten law concerning the fate of apprehended thieves. Ironically, the man is killed before his identity is established. Sadly, he can only be identified by his grieving wife and children in a cold room. An innocent life is cut short due to the heartless nature of idle, uncaring city dwellers and the inept police department. In conclusion, any society that lacks benevolence disintegrates into an abyss of lawlessness and immorality. And after having good learners all those particular evidences and citations from the text to support our points, indeed that some people do commit unethical acts as a result of lack of moral compass of their actions. And that has evidently been proven from the text. Find it useful, good learners. And in case, again, to emphasize on top, in case this work you came across it, it's your first time, my name is Sherlock Tabiga. You can head straight to YouTube or any other platform that you are maybe watching this from. Search Sherlock Tabiga and I'll immediately pop up there. And this is the work that you'll find there. And above all, share this one with good friends, especially those ones that you know this work will be of great value and significance. And thank you for watching. I'm Tabiga and Sherlock. You can reach me through that tiny little details there, SherlockJohn@gmail, and also my telephone. I've also patched it down there for further maybe support. Adios for now. Okay.